Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome to another therapy session known as the Jersey Boyz Podcast. Your host right here, Dave Sturchio, alongside nationally known comedian Bret Ernst and the Grinch, America's fan, Keith Ernst.
What's
Boys,
up,
I would ask you how, and Keanu Reeves from John Wick. So apparently that's a thing. So he's also joining us. So look, it's pretty apparent that we were all in our feelings last week off of a loss to the Saints. And now it gets even better. We decided to not show up again last week against the Baltimore Ravens. As look, the only one who picked the Ravens to win was Bret. He said he was hoping, he was wrong, but clearly he was right. Me and Keith thought we were just going to come bounce back and do it the McCarthy way, meaning, you get throttled on national TV. It's time to come back and come back strong. And we just didn't. And here we are, 1-2, tied for last, heading into week number 4, as the Cowboys are preparing to take on the Giants on Thursday Night Football. Me and other little Sturch will be in the building. So we'll make sure that if we do anything positive, we'll definitely FaceTime Bret, and all you'll get is cheeks again, like you did last year. So,
oh, bro,
Bret,
I thought there was cheeks everywhere,
and not in the and just the smiling
cheeks,
not like
cheeks and teeth everywhere.
That's all it was. I couldn't get a word in. It didn't matter because I couldn't. There was
Hey,
no
Sturch.
Yo,
Sturch, when you sent that video of the Atlanta game when we won and came back, it's so weird. You and your brother did the same exact thing, like the same celebration. It was
I
so
know,
weird.
And that was not like, obviously it wasn't rehearsed or anything like that.
I know it wasn't. Yeah,
we just went ape shit. And then the best part about that video, and my father watched the episode last week, so he's going to be tuning in every week now on the old YouTube. He couldn't get off the couch. Like, my couch was such a sunken in couch. Every time he tried to get up, he just couldn't do it until we dragged his ass up. But listen, improbable win that was against Atlanta once upon a time. And we almost had that kind of win against the Ravens because we recovered an onside kick. So all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. But Keith, we'll start with you. Your, I guess, reactions right off the rip. I mean, it's just, I know what the reactions are going to be, but I guess your biggest takeaways from another bad beatdown in Dallas.
What's crazy is that, I guess if we would have made that comeback, that would have been the biggest comeback ever in the fourth quarter, which I thought Atlanta was still, but I don't know. Maybe we started the comeback early in the third quarter or something against Atlanta. I don't really remember, but regardless, yeah, man, to me, the first 3 quarters matter the most. I mean, we could take what we can from the fourth quarter. And look, man, it's the thing that bothered me, and, we're not really talking about it. Maybe we should, is even if we won that game, fine, we got the onside kick, great, But then that call, that roughing the passer against Dak was awful.
Brutal.
If that was the other way around, I would have been fucking pissed. And guaranteed they would have been talking about that on Monday if we won the game, because that put us in the position for our defense to fail us at the end of the game anyways. But it did put us in that position. So I didn't really think the comeback was that special as everyone else did, because like I said, we needed a lucky onside kick, and we needed that personal foul that was bullshit on Dak to sustain 2 of those touchdowns. So, but the first 3 quarters were ugly. Our defense was awful once again. And, I know Bret sent that video, which I didn't watch. Bro, I know you want us to watch it. I don't have 40 minutes to watch a video, bro.
We got to get clips of the Vach and the other one.
It's kind of tough because, I'd rather watch the all 22 and give my own opinion. And I know people don't want to hear this, and I know it's going to come to a shock to some. But to me, Micah Parsons is the reason why we lost and our defense played so poorly. And would you like me to explain that or no?
Please elaborate.
Okay. So they got him at defensive end, mostly.
Sure.
That's what I know. It's outside linebacker. He does not know how to read that option for the life of him. I can't tell you how many times he bit on the running back and let Lamar Jackson run around him. Even when he bit, he couldn't make the tackle. Okay. He is not in the right position right now. And they were going at him. He had the worst game I've seen him have in the longest time. And honestly, if I went back, because I didn't watch the all 22 against the Saints, I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing was happening.
Right.
And I think what you do, this is my opinion, and I know Nick Eatman doesn't agree with it. He thinks he's a great pass specialist and he needs to stay where he's at, but I disagree with that. Put Nealand at one, Lawrence at the other, and leave Micah in the middle. Leave him in the middle or a little bit of an outside, not on the line. I don't want him on the line anymore because he doesn't know. He's a freak athlete, okay? And I get that. But he's a playmaker, and sometimes playmakers don't keep containment. They don't do certain things because they're trying to make the big splash, the big play. And I think that hurts him. But anyways, that was my biggest take from the game.
Brett?
I agree with Keith. I think personnel-wise, I don't think he's in the right position. And our interior did absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing. They got collapsed. Last week I asked the question, what do you think we can do? And, I listened to that Vok and Brian Brodus podcast, which they basically articulated what I was trying to say last week and the problem we had this week. They think and I think Vok said it, that it's a personnel problem on defense and a coaching problem on offense. And if I know you guys keep saying if they don't score, they don't win. Yeah, okay. Like if the defense doesn't let them score and we can just kick a field goal, we win the game. We've got problems on offense. And the question is that they pose, do you put more value in the last 8 minutes or the first 3 quarters? And what Keith said is absolutely right. The 8 minutes we had help. You had an onside kick, not to mention, Ravens are known for letting teams get back in it. Defensively, we don't know if it's a personnel. We had 17 missed tackles, which means the guys were in the right position. You know what I mean? I don't know how to fix that problem. It might be a personnel thing, but offensively and what they brought up, our play calling is atrocious. I mean, what is the first 15 plays that he's calling? I mean, we went 3 and out, then we did 6 and out. We couldn't get in the end zone. Our running game is not that good. Our offensive line allowed pressure. We all agree this isn't Dak's fault, even though he made some bad throws. Our receivers are running like curls and weird. It's not. We're not. And again, that's my thought. I'm going to repeat what they said. We have a problem exposing other teams' weaknesses and not catering to our strengths. And I agree. I mean, dude, we got our ass kicked on all sides of the ball. And that 8 minutes, I don't put credence in that. We had a lot of help. And don't get me wrong, it would have been a nice win. But think about this. Did you see the 2-point conversions we ran? I mean, just
they were both short. Short.
Run Dak. That's what it is.
What is that? Why are we calling that? Especially if you got a guy like Zeke.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is and just to kind of piggyback off of both you guys, I feel like yes, there are some serious deficiencies on this offensive side of the ball as well. Dak puts up a nice stat line, and I don't want to hear that it's in garbage time. Garbage time is when, a team is up 35-3 and they score 1 touchdown and maybe a field goal or something like that, and it becomes like 35-13, 35-17. The Cowboys were in striking distance to win that ball game, so that's not garbage time to me. He did what he had to do. Dak Prescott is very, very good against the zero defense. Like when they send out that blitz, Dak will pick you apart. That's his strength. That's how you play to Dak's strengths. But now the problem is personnel on the offense too. Like outside of CeeDee Lamb, who was throwing an absolute bitch fit on the sidelines, which he just was interviewed not too long ago, about an hour ago, saying that like him and Dak are all good. It's a lot of passion. And like I said, when you're a wide receiver, it comes with the territory. You are going to have some diva in you, and that's just the way it is. That comes with the position. Same thing with corner, right? It's just those are the positions where you feel like
There is a mentality with those types of skill positions.
Yeah, and it's fine because warranting. Look, every single person that we've had that wore the 88, maybe besides Pearson, but even Pearson now, if you talk to him, he's a little bit of a crazy person. But like Des Bryant, Michael Irvin, those guys were all a little diva, but they all had some dog in them, right?
Yeah.
Michael Irvin was single-handedly, I think, responsible for firing up the teams in 92, 93, 95. Right?
This was the creation.
But
right.
That Miami.
So that Mike Irvin was that kind of guy. Des Bryant, as much of a crazy person as he was on the sidelines, he was looking for the ball, and you also wouldn't step to Des Bryant. Des Bryant would floor you on the defensive side of the ball. So I mean, like if you stepped up to Des, he'll make you his personal bitch. He will. Now, does CeeDee Lamb possess that dog in him? I think he does, but I think it was portrayed as a spoiled brat. And I think that was a little bit of a bad look for CeeDee Lamb to be that way. And when I look at this team as a whole, I will absolutely throw a lot of the shade on the offense because we couldn't do anything. That being said, defensively, yeah, it's a personnel problem, dude, because now you're going to a Giants game where Caleb Carson is a game-time decision. Marquise Bell is a game-time decision. We are now down even more talent on the defensive side of the ball, and not to mention we can't stop the run for shit. They made us look foolish in a lot of these plays, and you look at this team as a whole. Now, Zimmer, again, we're all, I mean, at least for me, I was excited about Mike Zimmer coming in to maybe give it a little bit more of a hard nose, but a hard nose like Dan Quinn was a rah-rah guy, and he continues to be, and he's looking like he's not so bad at doing what he's doing in Washington right now. We'll get into that in a little bit, but like overall, like Zimmer's not going to be your rah-rah guy. He's going to be in your, well, so apparently for what we were told, he was going to get in the face, take accountability. Micah Parsons saying that we don't need 11 guys playing Superman. We all just need to pay attention to detail, do our jobs. And I don't think anybody did their job, right? Like, I don't think there was anybody. We can't, I mean, I'll ask you, Keith, is there somebody on defense where you can be like, yep, they did everything they needed to do?
You know who's playing well is the rookie kid, that linebacker, Lufo.
Yeah, I mean,
he's doing all right. Okay. And you know, Kendricks is getting there, man. But I mean, he's looking more and more tired. And I'll tell you who else stood out as having a bad game. And I said it in the beginning of the season. We haven't seen him play 4 quarters. Is Overshown, man. He is not making tackles. He's missing tackles. He doesn't look like the guy we saw in preseason. And that's something
that was part of that was part of Bret's, you know, if Bret had a scouting report, he said that sometimes when you're that aggressive, you will miss some tackle. You will over.
I don't care what the report is. I'm just saying what I'm saying. What he looks like out there is crap right now. He doesn't look like.
It just seems like everybody's out of position. That's why.
Well,
it just seems like
it's so crazy because after that Cleveland game, Bret, everything we said was, this is so nice. Everybody was in position. Everybody knew what was going on, right? And it's weird because I guess maybe, Keith, if you shine some light on this, the Cleveland Browns just dropped another game to the Giants, and we beat Cleveland. Both of us beat Cleveland in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Is there a chance that Cleveland just really, really stinks?
Well, first I want to finish my other point because I was interrupted. Sure. But yes, I was saying that what I was saying about our defense is that this is why you have to play more in preseason. Okay. We didn't see enough. We saw 2 or 3 plays of Overshown, and we're talking like he's the next Eugene Lockhart. Like, you know, but I'm just saying though, that's why you need to play more. We have to see more, because I'll tell you right now, and I mean this serious, I would take some of those linebackers that are on the practice squad right now and put them in there, because the way they were playing with the heart and the grit and being in position during preseason, because that defense shut down a starting Raiders offense. I know the Raiders aren't the best thing in the world, but I'm just saying though, I don't know about these. Kendricks is an older player and he's looking old. I meant, Overshown, looks, he's great for a few plays flying around, but after he's hit a lot, I don't know if he wants to get hit anymore. Like, there are little things I need to see with the defense that I would have liked to see in preseason. Now, and I want to go back to something else you said about CeeDee Lamb. I get that. You're right. But if you listen to Michael Irvin, even Des Bryant, when they're mic'd up, they are getting their team amped. Like Des would not be crying. Des would be telling Tony Romo he's the greatest quarterback in the NFL and he's the greatest receiver. I don't know what CeeDee's saying, okay? Because I'll tell you what, he needs to get the hell out of his ear. Because I already said that the double coverage thing last game, which CeeDee already said, I said throw it to me even if I'm in double coverage. And then also the in this game, he had a fumble on the 10-yard line we're not talking about that could have led to a touchdown on our second drive where Bret was like, we need to score. Yeah, it was 14-3. We may have scored if CeeDee Lamb doesn't fumble on the 10-yard line, and he had a key drop. Okay, I don't know what he's saying to Dak if he keeps one. No, I'm not going to throw you the ball. How about that? You had a key fumble and a drop. I'm just saying. Now you want to compare. So you want to compare people. You have talkers like Michael Irvin and Des Bryant. Positive, yes, go. But then you have a Terrell Owens. If he's a Terrell Owens talker, that's a problem. You do not want that on your team. And not every receiver. Larry Fitzgerald was not that way. Jerry Rice was not that way to his quarterback and to his team. I'm sure they talk trash to the opposing player, but I'm just saying, let's not make it like every great receiver has had this kind of swag.
You know what's funny that you bring up. Hold on, you brought up Larry Fitzgerald, right? And I always say this about certain players, like when they finally retire and they leave and they're done, like I'm almost surprised to know what their voice sounds like. Because they're like, you never even hear him interview, you never hear him barking, you never hear shit. So with CeeDee, just so everybody's clear, it was kind of mouth reading, but he said, like he was kind of like he was in this like what is your deal? Like what is your deal? And he's like and there was one moment where he said, just get me the fucking ball, and that was it. Like just get me the fucking ball. Or like and again, do you want to put the ball in the hands of your playmaker? Sure, but once you get the ball in your hands, CeeDee, you can't put it on the carpet. Like you just can't. And that's just where I stand with CeeDee Lamb. Listen, I love CeeDee Lamb. I think he's top 1, top 2. And Dave, I think he's that good. But
Dave, if he said that and was having a great game, I would agree with that. But after he fucked up so much to come at Dak like that, like just get me the fucking ball when you're dropping it and fumbling it, that's a whole nother story, man. That's when you just keep your mouth shut and just, do your thing. Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, Brett.
Just first off, I agree with the preseason thing. This is what you get when your quarterback and receiver aren't getting a rhythm in real time. Also, as a receiver, you got to give your quarterback confidence when you fumble, which that can happen, and you drop 2 passes, right, which can happen. Now you need another receiver. You need somebody else to step up. Fergie had it. Let's give some shout outs to Fergie and Lepke, by the way. And, obviously Aubrey, but you need another good second receiver. And, if they're running these stupid little patterns and curls and, there isn't a lot, like I was texting you now we got to hit those outs. We can't go deep, which first play we get the ball, we go deep, right? You're every play's 4 downs. So you got to plan for that, especially when you're behind so much. But, those first 3 quarters are really important. And if we get in the end zone once, or we even stop them from scoring once, it's a different game. We're not going for 2.
I think it's a different game because then like Baltimore knows that you're not able to be had that easily. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so they score, we score, they score, we score. We can get in a shootout with a team like that. You know what I mean? And I think that it's pretty apparent that we weren't really ready to go into a shootout anyway. And it wasn't until the fourth quarter where Dak turned it on. And to your point, Brett, to your point, Dak Prescott looked his best in that game when he was spreading the ball around, when he was hitting lefty, when he was hitting
he was trying to, but we can't move the chains. We have a problem moving the chains. Every time it's a fight to get a first down. And Rico played pretty good, better than I thought. But we went for two point conversions we couldn't make. If we made the first one, we kicked the field goal. We made up the 3, right? All we got to do is get in 65 yards, and Aubrey's going to make a field goal. I mean, dude, this is why every play matters. Now, you're gonna have guys that have bad games. But again, our offensive line did not play that well. Dak was under a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. Our corners, I mean, there was one play, I think we knocked each other off. They ran into each other and left them wide open, where their first touchdown, I believe, or maybe second. What Keith texted, they scored a touchdown on what? 12 of their last 13 drives, a team between the Saints.
I mean, look, it's getting a little ridiculous, and there's only so much we can do to bash the Cowboys based off of their performance.
We're not bashing them. We're just critiquing.
No. I'm just saying, like, there's only so much you can say when it comes to shit like this. Like, we're missing assignments. We're not tackling. We're not covering. We're not stopping the run. We ain't doing shit.
Did you see that awful play by Carson, man?
The missed tackle?
Oh my God,
the missed tackle, bro. First of all, huge. And that's another thing. That's another thing, bro. Not only is it a missed tackle, but it's like if it was like Devontae Adams or some star receiver that shook somebody, I'd be like, all right, well, the kid just got work. That was Nelson fucking Aguilar. You know what I mean? Like, these guys haven't seen the end zone.
Wait, let me pose a question now. I want to pose a question. When we're blitzing in our stump packages, we're not even getting to the quarterback. And what's happening is we're blitzing underneath coverage, which is leaving them wide open. I say abandon the stump packages because apparently they're not working. Do we get a sack at all this game?
There might have been one that was like a scramble by Lamar Jackson that didn't make it back to the line of scrimmage, and like that's why they counted it as a sack.
Yeah,
but I mean, look, he is a threat. I mean, he is a running quarterback, which, you know, it's different when you're in the pocket. But it just seemed like we didn't have containment sometimes.
Not for nothing. That's super alarming considering the fact that, like, obviously Daniel Jones is not, you know, they called him Vanilla Vic at one point, right? The guy can move, so he's not like he's a statue back there, right? And then you got like Justin Fields after that, and then it's like, you know, the scrambling quarterbacks, they just don't go away. So like the Cowboys are gonna have to figure this out. Like, why not? Now look, this is probably what they do. I hope, but like if you have a guy like Trey Lance on your practice squad and he's got the wheels just like everybody else, you gotta mimic. The like.
Same, no, bro.
How is it not the same? You're starting to prepare for a running quarterback.
It's not real. They don't do things in real time like they used to. I mean, you know, it's everyone's going 50 to 70% in practice. I mean, that's why I'm saying preseason games are so important to really evaluate your talent, because people are actually going 100% in preseason. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying. Does it help? Yeah, sure. But I don't know if it helps that much.
And to Brett's point before, he said, you know, the preseason, like the quarterback and the receiver aren't getting the reps. I'm doubling down on that. In fact, that like CeeDee Lamb wasn't in the building. You know, it wasn't like he wasn't even at practice. So that's it's going to take a little while. And again, you look at the team like the Giants, and the Giants played well enough to get themselves a win on the road. You can't discredit that. Right. And I understand that the Cowboys have pretty much owned the Giants since like Dak's rookie year. Right. And like, that's just fact. I'm not making this up. I'm not saying like, oh, we own you. Like, no, we haven't lost. Like, we just, the Cowboys beat up.
Dak hasn't
lost. Right. So like, we haven't had to experience any kind of stress, whether they come into our house or we go into theirs. It's never a stressful situation. Last year, proof's in the pudding. We beat them 40-0. So now, I'm walking into MetLife on Thursday for the first time in years. Well, I mean, I go every year, but I'm saying like the feeling I have going into this game is I do not expect to win this game. Like I just don't. Right. And I want to be proven wrong time and time again. But
I want to get back to something though. The D-line, okay? And I agree with Keith. Let's pull Mike off the D-line.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I don't know if he's big enough to play middle.
They need to.
And put him, maybe have Overshown on him at the outside, move Liufu to the middle, keep our ends, and we got to get penetration up front. I mean, dude, they got blown off the ball, man. There was very few plays where they were behind the line, and you know, and doing these underneath coverages. I don't know how to fix that. This season reminds me of that when we came back against Atlanta season.
That we 2020. That was literally the worst year that we've had.
But bro, this defense right now is on pace to be worse than that.
Worse, yeah.
I will say that the way to fix it is, and I know you said they're not going to do that, Sturch, where they need to swallow their pride. They need to do something, or give him a crash course on how to keep containment or something. Give him, I mean, he did not play well at all. I mean, at all. It was awful the way he played. And I will say also, who I noticed hustling, believe it or not, was Mozzie, man. Mozzie was hustling. He was doing his best, bro. He was running sideline to sideline. He's having problems with getting the penetration, but I meant the kid's playing hard, and I don't think he's really the issue either in the middle right now. And I think all of our linebackers right now, I think they're the problem. Every single one of them.
It could be the play calling. I mean, we don't know. I still think, guys, when a coach has their first 15 offensive plays, they're going to call, right?
Sure.
They have that ready to go. I don't understand what his first 15 are. I mean, even the reverse, when he handed it off on the reverse or whatever it was, the receiver to Turpin. I mean, what are we doing?
Yo, bro, but all right. So the first drive, we got a field goal because we have the greatest field goal kicker in there. So we didn't have a 3-and-out on the first drive. I know you said that earlier, but we didn't. We got in field goal range for
65 yards, right?
Yeah, but this is now again. I mean, this is. Are you sure? Are you sure we on the first drive? Because I feel like we got the ball
first
and we're like, we want the ball.
Yeah, we got the ball first and we had to punt.
Oh no, yeah. We got the ball and then the Ravens scored, then the field goal. Yeah. Okay. So we may have went 3, but anyways, regardless. And then the next drive after that was the fucking CD fumble, man. You know what I mean?
That's a game changer. And we can't listen. Nobody's going to discredit that. But
that's why I feel bad. It's I don't feel bad, but that's why I'm not coming at the offense as hard, man. I am for the mistake that CD made. You know what I mean? But then
it was like a downward spiral from there as far as the rapport between Dak and CD. And if you're in the quarterback's ear within fucking 1 quarter of football, if not less than 1 quarter of football, it's going to screw everything up.
And check it out. And that all 22 too. Let me tell you, man. Dak, there was nobody open, and I don't know how he completed some of those passes.
So
I'm saying right now that he's playing some of the best football he's played since he's and anyone who listens to this show knows I didn't want him on the team after the divisional San Francisco loss. I wanted him out, but since then he's been playing, man. I mean, some of his balls have been like woo.
Well, here's the thing.
Woo. Yeah,
and some have been behind.
I'll just clear that up for you real quick because of the windows that he's throwing in. There was an analytics or whatever, some stat, which was a legitimate one that I'll actually pay attention to because some of them are stupid, but some of them you can actually apply. The Cowboys receivers between CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, and Brandon Cooks, the separation percentage in yards are none. They're not getting separation.
There you go.
So that's a big issue. And that's a personnel issue. And it's also a route running issue. And it's also what you're calling issue, to Bret's point. Like, we're not calling the right plays. Look, I know there was a big, internet craziness that went off last week when I think it was whoever the draft, Mel Kiper said, like, you should ban the cover 2, right? You should ban the cover 2 defense because it's not fair. And we're not seeing the post routes like we used to back in the day with Don Stallworth and shit like that. Of course you're not. But like, you have to, these are schemes and these are things that are called something, quote, beaters, like cover 2 beater, cover 0 beater. There are things out there. Good offensive coordinators and play callers know how to beat these defenses. We, for whatever reason, don't go off script. Like Bret was saying, the first 15 plays are usually scripted unless something catastrophic happens, meaning, you go down 14-0 in your own building, then you got to go off script. You got to figure things out. We are not a good figure it out type team. The only way they win games going forward, and this is just my opinion going forward, the only way the Cowboys win football games is to jump on your opponent 7-0, 10-0, something like that. Because coming from behind all the time is taxing, and it just doesn't make sense. It's not the MO for this Cowboys team. As good as Dak plays, as good as Dak is, and as good as Dak can lace him in and get some tight window throws and all that shit, as good as he could be, it won't matter if we're down 10-0 before you can even sit down and have your first beer. You know what I mean? Like, it's very quick.
Yeah,
the
that's how the way
struggling quick.
It's not the way this team is built. I mean, I would have thought different before last season, maybe. But I mean, because I thought this team went through our defense, but holy shit, was I wrong?
So I'll ask you this question, both of you guys, just based off of locker room.
Don't forget about our stupid penalties on the first drive too. We had a holding, a false start.
And those are drive killers. You start from behind the sticks, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will ask you guys this as a question, because Jordan Lewis, who might get a little bit more extra burn this week if Caleb Carson's out, Jordan Lewis made me nuts on Twitter, because I saw a clip of him being interviewed at his locker, and he says it's details. It's our team's attention to details that has been our downfall these last 2 weeks. And then the reporter, that same reporter, said, well, how long has it been since you guys have been, why is details the problem? And he said, it's been the problem. So to me, that just goes to show you that we're not being coached well. If you can't get your details.
Bro. I think who he's referring to, just from watching him.
Micah Parsons?
Yeah. I think we're breaking something here. I'm telling you, because you could tell a player what to do. And by the way, that's basic defensive end outside knowledge to maintain your containment. Okay.
Yes.
Basic. So I meant the details, they don't want to throw each other under the bus, but I have a feeling that, that Micah is one of those people that isn't paying attention to those details and just going off the cuff and trying to make plays.
And that goes to Micah's quote of saying that we don't need 11 Supermen out there, which is okay, we'll speak for yourself. We understand that you're good. We get it. We get that you're good. We get that you're a good pass rusher. But maybe you need to just dial it back a little bit and just take the right tackle for a ride, just to open them up.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah.
And it's crazy to talk like that because of the fact that it is Micah Parsons, and he is touted to be one of the better rushers of the quarterback in the league.
Hey, bro, I'll ask you this question too. Okay. Would Ray Lewis or Lawrence Taylor let this happen to their defense in 3 games in a row at home in the first? I meant never in a million years would you see that kind of offensive performance with those leaders on the field and what they brought.
Ray would have probably killed them.
Seriously though, I meant,
look, first of all, if you got Ray Lewis in the middle, we don't have these problems. Second of all, LT is like a Micah, but even a better athlete. Believe it or not, there are a lot of times.
I could keep bringing up defensive players, though. You guys are missing my point. I mean, I'm not just talking about generational. Is he really that good? Is what I'm trying to say. Is he really that player?
I don't know if he's being used the right way. But yeah, he is that good. He can be. I don't know.
Honestly,
let him lose.
It's either yes or no. I say no because of what I've seen on the field in the last 3 home games. I could bring up Suggs.
Right.
I could bring up so many defensive players where you do not see 11 touchdowns on 12 fucking drives in the first 3 quarters of a game.
All right, but he's at the first line of defense, right? It's more our second. It's more the linebacking core, in my opinion. Look, does he go out of position? But I'm saying is that you got him on the end. On a run play, he's almost obsolete, right? So when you have 220 yards rushing, and he's at a defensive end position, what's he going to do? Not to mention how much from outside from.
I'm telling you, this last game, he was responsible for at least 125 of those fucking yards. I'm telling you right now.
from the end
right now. You guys got to watch this all 22. You have to watch.
No, listen. There was one play, and I'm sure there was more because you watched the all 22. But there was one play where Micah looked like he was on an island by himself because it was just like. He lost complete control, did not know what the hell he was doing. And that's alarming coming from one of the better players. Now, I know you guys have suggested today and probably on previous shows to move the guy around. That's where I think he's best. I do. I agree with you guys. I think if you move this guy around as a hybrid, like on a 3rd and long, you got to pin your ears back and sack the quarterback. Yes, defensive end, go bull rush, go do your thing. But when it comes to reading defenses, and stopping the run, and if it's our linebacking core that's having an issue, then you got to put your best player at linebacker. Much like I said, you got to put Overshawn on the field until I saw him play last week. And I'm like, okay, maybe not. But like, not saying take him off the field. I'm saying like, we got to probably pump the brakes on the hype of Overshawn right now.
He's still young.
look,
He's still great. I think he's going to be a great player in the league. I do.
Yeah. We talk about the types of running backs that are good for an offensive system, right? So you have like Barry Sanders is phenomenal in a run and shoot. Emmett probably couldn't run a run and shoot offense, right? We talked about this before. It's the same thing for defense. When you get a certain type of a player, you have to put him in a position that accentuates his strengths, right? Go ahead. What were we going to say, Keith?
Oh, nothing. You're good.
So if you have, again, I think our interior is a problem. There was a couple times I was texting you. They got both two tech just just blown out. And, we weren't getting enough penetration. We really didn't have much pressure either. There's a couple times I would love to see the pressures on Lamar, if they even count that as him just taking the ball and running. But,
he only had I think he had 13 pass attempts. So it's like, how many times we had to pressure him? I don't know. He didn't fucking throw.
And I sent you that Rob Ryan thing. Screw Rob Ryan, Rex Ryan thing. And he's right.
I saw the Rex thing.
I'm just saying, you
what
let
did he
that
say?
happen once. He said, you let that happen once in your building, but the same exact thing happens the game after. And they just did the same thing, but even worse. So I meant there is a huge, because that's one of the reasons because I agree with Rex Ryan. That's why I took the Cowboys. And you kept bringing Mike. I told you, I'm Mike McCarthy. Oh, Mike McCarthy gets him ready. No, he doesn't. I'm that. That's generic. Players, when players get ran out, like I said, they usually step up and they play a lot harder because they were humiliated. I'm not saying our guys didn't try. Don't get me wrong. They tried. They just aren't good, or they weren't good. I
think personally, a lot of them are out of position. I think the play calling, we might have to even look at the fact that, maybe McCarthy's antiquated. Because again, some of these plays, there was it just didn't seem like did you notice when Dak was dropping, hitting on posts, outs?
Oh, sorry, bro. Sorry. I thought you meant Zimmer, not McCarthy. My bad.
Well, Zimmer too. We don't know what kind of scheme they're throwing out. It just seems like a lot of guys are out of position.
Yeah, but once again, we've talked about this, that it's the intelligence of the football player. I threw Dan Quinn under the bus after the Packer game, and now his defense is blowing it up in Washington. And look at us now when Zimmer has the same players just about that Quinn has, and we're not even close to a Quinn defense.
And do you know by any chance, off the top of your head, do you know who he brought over there to be the DC?
Oh shoot. I saw it the other night. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. And I can't, who is it again?
Joe Witt Jr.
Yeah.
That was our guy. So, but here's another thing. And I'll bring this question up. Micah Parsons on his podcast yesterday said that, obviously he goes off on a rant and saying there's no testimony without a test and all this other stuff. Right. And all his little clickbaity things. But the one thing that he said that kind of stuck out to me was that Micah Parsons thinks it's better that this is happening now than finding out what the fuck happened last year when we went 12-5, won the division, got that home game. Here come the Packers. And oh, by the way, maybe we just didn't have the right scheme on defense that day. And we found out that day. Is it better, Keith, to find out in the first 3 weeks of football?
That is the most ludicrous thing I've heard.
No, he's saying that question. Listen to the question.
I know what the question is. I know what the question is. Is it better we find out that this stuff is happening now and we find out about this now than in the playoffs against a team like the Packers? Is that the question?
Well, basically what he's alluding to is saying,
is it better now because
we're exposing we're exposing a problem now that if we fix, it's better to have this problem now than to be exposed later on. We've been exposed.
Okay, can I answer that?
Well, sure. I'm saying it's a legit question. It doesn't. It's nothing.
I don't think it is because Arizona did it to us. The 49er did it to us. The Bills did it to us. Seattle did it to us. My point is that this happened many times before last season and it was never fixed. So I don't know.
Keith, there's a
You
difference.
think because it happened back-to-back games, now it's a bigger deal? Like
at home, dude. Dude, here's the thing.
Actually
It's a
happened
bigger
3
deal
games
because
in a
look,
row.
when last year the Cowboys, everybody knows this. It's not rocket science. The Cowboys went 12-5, and when they did win some games, they won some games convincingly. And the defense, what they do? They took the ball away, right? And there was a lot of extra possessions because of the fact that we were creating turnovers. We're not doing that anymore. So when those blips on the radar happened last year, meaning Arizona, meaning San Francisco, meaning all the losses that we have, where we can sit back and say, yep, it was the defense. We got exposed that day. That's 5 instances of 17 games. This is 2 instances in 3 games.
And
so
let me talk about that as well. It would be too, because San Francisco manhandled us. I mean, even after that game, I'm like, we are not the team we thought we were. Then the Eagles, we ended up getting close. In other words, you looked at it as a bad game as opposed to a problem.
Right.
Even though Keith said it was a problem, but I'm saying when you're assessing it, you're like, okay, our defense did this, blip on the radar, this, blip on the radar. Okay, we have a few things we have to adjust, and then Green Bay just a clusterfuck, right? What I think we're saying now is we're in red alert. And let's be honest too. Here's a question: if we go 1-5, Jerry Jones fires McCarthy midseason. I would like to see Al Harris get the promotion, but I'm saying does he get fired if we go 1-5? I mean, look, because this could be.
It depends. It depends on how it happens. Meaning, like, we've owned the Giants. It's not a false. It's not a farce, right? We've owned the Giants. If we go into MetLife and they do the same exact thing that 2 teams just did, and this is a lesser team. Everybody knows this. It's a lesser team. It's Devin Singletary. It's not Alvin Kamara. It's Devin Singletary. It's not fucking Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson. It is a lesser Giants team. If they spark us and punch us right in the fucking face like we've been getting punched, there is some questions about the leadership in the locker room. I understand that there's a lot of player personnel things that we're talking about here, but it comes and starts up top. And it starts with Jerry Jones, who went out today and said on 105.3 The Fan that the fans, they're like, oh, guess what? The fans are very upset with you. He's like, oh, that's fair. You could, no, that's fair. No shit, it's fair. You decided to neglect free agency for the last, 15 years, right? Yeah. So there is proof in the pudding that teams can be built within free agency along with a good draft. We just happen to have really good drafts.
Let's get to what's happening.
I want to talk about Jerry Jones. I mean, Jerry Jones is a topic.
I'm just saying.
I know, but we don't want to spend time on that crap. I mean, it's just.
I'm not trying to spend time on it. I'm just trying to tell you.
We know what it is.
Yes, we get throttled by the New York Giants. That by October 1st, we're looking to see. Okay, it might be a McCarthy thing.
Okay, fine.
Leadership.
Okay, yeah. All right. Now, my thing is, we keep talking about what season this reminds us of. The season it reminds me of is the 2010 season, 2009, 2010.
That Wade Phillips?
Wade Phillips got fired.
Yeah, so that was Jason Garrett, 2010.
Yeah, so basically, we started out almost the same. We lost to, I don't have anything in front of me. I just remember. We lost to Washington on Sunday night. Then we lost to Chicago the next week. We got killed at Texas Stadium. That's when Des Bryant returned or whatever stadium it was, when he returned the punt for a touchdown against the Bears, his rookie year. But we still lost that game. And then we were 0-2 when we went to Houston and beat Houston. Everything. Then we went to Minnesota and lost to Minnesota. We got our ass kicked by Minnesota. Then we went in the Giants and Romo got knocked out. That was the play where he's like, did he catch it? Did he catch it? And he was out. Remember when he got his collarbone broken? Mm-hmm. In came John Kitna. We got our ass kicked by Jacksonville at home on Halloween.
All right, we get it.
Hold on. Well, no. See, bro, now you're interrupting me. I'm trying to present something here.
But I'm saying it's the same thing about talking about Jerry.
No, it's not. It's not. So
okay, so it reminds you of that season.
Yeah.
Go on, Keith.
So the next game was Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers. And guess who the coach was? This is what I'm getting to. Mike McCarthy. They beat the piss out of us. And who did Mike McCarthy get fired?
Wade Phillips.
Yes. and then Jason Garrett. That's what I was getting to, bro. Okay, I know it takes me a while to get there, but that's why this season reminds me of it, and I just feel like it's just desserts, as they say, or whatever it's called. If the same fucking thing happens with Mike McCarthy, if he starts out 1-5 and he gets his ass kicked and he gets fired, then Al Harris comes in and starts winning like Jason Garrett did, which he did when he got in. Remember, we beat the Colts the following week.
Yeah, and I believe the Colts were like 8-0 going into that.
Yeah, no, they were they were great. And suddenly our defense decided they knew how to play as soon as Wade Phillips was gone, which I thought was so
I mean, look, again, just looking around the league right now, the 49ers are 1-2, and I understand they lost like all their players, right? Like they have all, and it might be putting Purdy on the chop block, but like there's other guys.
Purdy played pretty good, bro.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying like at the end of the day, you're missing all your weapons, your biggest weapons, and they completely imploded defensively.
But they were still in the game.
I just said defensively. Like, they blew it. Defensively, they blew it. But what I'm saying is we're 1-2. We're not 0-7. You know what I mean? Like, so what I'm kind of alluding to and leading into,
we're 1-2 because there's 3 games. That's all we played. And if we're gonna look at this, and if it would be like if you had a bank account and it's hemorrhaging right now. We're hemorrhaging, and there's all kinds of things that need to be fixed. And we can, again, you could, like, we all, I mean, I know me and my brother thought Dan Quinn was the problem. I remember saying we looked overcoached, right? Guys weren't knowing what to do, just got ran out. Then we go against Cleveland. You're like, okay, we got the problem fixed. And then all of a sudden, what the F happened? And we're hemorrhaging on both sides of the ball. We really are. We don't have a run game.
Then you do what every other normal American person does in this country, and you get a debt consolidation loan, and you just start paying it off over time.
Well, guess what? We can't afford it because we got 2 of the highest players on the team right now.
Yeah. Listen, man. Look, and now and now we could segue into the Giants. And the Giants have, like I said, they got themselves a nice quality win last week. Played a lot better in the first half than they did the second half. They got after Deshaun Watson. I believe they sacked him 7 times, if I'm not mistaken. So therefore, we have ourselves a little bit of an issue there. You know, you want to make sure we pass protect.
We're gonna blow them out. I'll tell you that right now. I think we're going to run through them.
What?
I'm telling you right now, but mark it, get your receipts. I'll text it to you so you can flash it later to show. We're going to blow them out. I don't think it's going to be a close game.
Don't worry, Sturch loves hearing that. Sturch loves it.
They're going to take all this aggression out. Things got to get fixed. I'm not worried about the Giants as much as Pittsburgh, Detroit, and San Francisco.
Brett, you triggered me there, buddy. Like, so you said they want to get all their frustrations out. Shouldn't that have been last week?
Yeah, but this is of course it should be every week.
I'm just saying, like, you got floored against the Saints. So I was like, oh, they're coming out. They're gonna fucking rot. Like
the Giants, look, they're a little below us as far as team talent wise. They are. And
well, you mean on paper? Or are you talking about
on paper?
Yeah, because
I watched them play. I was watching the Washington game.
So
I watched them. Huh?
So I watched them play too. I mean, I watch every game. I watch every single NFL game again on the NFL thing, by the way. Every condensed version I watch for my bets. So, yeah, the Giants should have beat Washington. They could very
easily had a kicker.
One. Very easily beat one. Now, if you want to say the quality of opponent, then I could maybe say that. But look what Washington did to Cincinnati last night, bro. I mean,
yeah,
but Cincinnati, and they look like they're in disarray.
By the way, here's a word you guys haven't heard this year.
Crescendo?
Crescendo. You're not crescendoing.
No,
Washington's crescendoing.
Yes, they are. Which leads me to think that, like, oh man, are we the worst team in the NFC East?
No, that's
right
what
now?
I was saying. I don't know who the best team is still. I don't.
It's right now, in my opinion, it's the Eagles, man.
I could agree with that, but I'm saying, like, if you had a gun to my head and said who's going to win the division, I don't know if I could say the Eagles. Man, maybe I would.
I would probably say just based off of how they're getting things.
Yeah, because a gun's to my head, and a gun is to my head.
Right now, the 2 best teams to me in the NFC are the Eagles and the Saints. And in the AFC, it's the refs, and then the Kansas City Chiefs. Dude, I I read something online, maybe you saw it, where Patrick Mahomes has had 22 interceptions overturned and like
All back. Yeah, that's a real
yeah.
thing.
Where I think it was
started on Chiefs. Anyway,
Brady had like 7 his whole career.
Right, I did see that stat. It was insane.
I would say to me that the NFC's still up in the air, but I wouldn't put the Saints there after that game against the Eagles.
No, I wouldn't either. All of
a sudden, what they did to us doesn't look like a big deal. And the first game was obviously the hell's his name? The quarterback for the Panthers, Bryce Young was the reason why the Saints pounced.
Is it another Jalen? It's like 15 Jalen's in the league.
They finally played a team where, did you see what Carr before the Saints game scored on 17 of 19 drives? And then he played an actual defense that actually knew how to be in position, and that actually was being coached well. And look what happened. They only scored 3 points.
And then we got week 8 Carr, right, Brett?
Yeah, we got week 8 Carr. So I'm just saying. I knew honestly. I know they're having a field day against us, but that wasn't impressive because I saw Jordan Love do the same thing, who I still think is a little overrated. That's just my opinion. But
see what the Packers are doing without him.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, it just seems like anybody that's playing us besides the Browns, like I said, who didn't have their star running back and Deshaun hadn't played in a while, is having a field day on us.
All right.
Let me ask you guys a question, and be honest. It doesn't have to be watching.
No, I'm going to lie to you. I'm going to lie right to your face. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying it doesn't have to be a long out answer. I think we are in the bottom 25 of the NFL as a team, watching us play.
Bottom 25. What do you mean? That means we're not the top
like
7.
Out of 31 teams, I think we're at like 25 and below as far as what I think the Panthers might be worse than us. I just don't see. I don't know. I know you guys gave me shit about the offense, but we know the defense is atrocious. I don't think our offense, and I'm not blaming Dak. I'm just saying there is a lot of hemorrhaging going on.
So, all right. So with that logic, though, Brett, then how are you convincing yourself that we're just going to go into MetLife and just beat the shit out of the Giants?
Because I think Giants are maybe 26 out of 31.
All right. You're right. That's called math, and that's logic, and that's what we bring you on the Jersey Boyz podcast. Listen, Brett, you already said that the Giants we're going to run the Giants out of New York.
No, I think we win by like 10. I think we'll win by
running them out of New York.
So they'll cover because we're 5.5 point favorites.
Oh, I'm taking the Cowboys on the road. I got 4.5 now on the new line, but it could be 5.5. I'm taking Cowboys minus the points.
Okay, so here's my thing with the Giants. Okay, they can beat us obviously if they've been watching film and they stay the course. Don't get cute. Run Singletary. Singletary's running his ass off. And they have a good backup, even though I can't remember his name, but I remember him doing well.
Jr. or some shit like that.
Yeah. So they have legit running backs that can do exactly what every other running back has done to us that has stuck with the run. Using Daniel Jones, dropping him back to pass and that kind of stuff, that could hurt them. And my thing is they get cute when they play us. And then they all of a sudden, before you know it, they're down by, 14, 17 points. So I can't. And the reason I say I think we're going to win this is Dak. I think he does well against the Giants. Okay. And everyone's coming after our running game, how they suck. And I'll stand by this. You can't establish a running game when you're down by 21 points within the first, 10 minutes of the game or whatever it is.
Preach.
So, yes. and I know Brett's going crazy, but my whole thing with that is the one time we rushed for over 100 yards this season, people act like we haven't, was against the Browns. Guess what? Because we weren't playing by 3 or 4 touchdowns down. We could actually establish the run. We don't have to, we don't have to play catch up so fast and all those things. So I think in this game that the Giants can win. And I am 50-50 on this. I am. And the only reason I'm going with the Cowboys is just with history and how it's been. And when they're head to head and just something happens when we go to that stadium, man. There's something there. So I meant Giants, and this doesn't, and honestly, even if we beat the Giants, this doesn't necessarily mean we're better than them.
Well,
I think it's
that was kind of where I was going to ask you before I picked the game myself. I was going to ask you.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think we pull it out in the end, say by 3 or 4.
All right. Wait, really quick though, to touch on what Keith said. I know it's hard to establish the running game when you're still in the game by the first half, right? It doesn't matter if you're down 7-0. That means no. I'm saying if it's 7-0 and your next drive you're still running stupid curl, or you're not establishing the run, then it's 7-3. Then it's 14-3, and you still haven't established the run. That has nothing to do with you're still in the game.
No,
those first 3 quarters, look, we can't establish the run against a good defense because we don't have a running game.
You're missing it, dude. We were actually why don't you look at those drives? We were running 2 or 3 yards.
I was looking them up when we were talking earlier.
Okay, no, look at the actual. Don't look at the play. Look at each.
No, I'm
play.
looking at the summary. The summary.
Okay, let's look at it now. Let's look at that drive where CeeDee Lamb fumbled, and tell me how many times you ran.
I did. We had a couple penalties. I'll pull it back up.
One CeeDee Lamb fumbled on the 10-yard line.
Yeah. So
third drive of the game.
First quarter, Lamar Jackson left end 9 yards, touchdown
On Micah.
Oh, this shit's scoring. I'm sorry.
But anyways, I don't want to. Anyways, regardless.
Well, listen. All right, you guys both.
I gotta go, so I can't really.
You guys have both picked the Cowboys to win the game. Look, ultimately, yes, based off history, I think the Cowboys should go in there and win the football game. Now, I'll pick them to win, right? Like, I'll pick them to win because I'm going to be there, and if they don't win, I might fucking throw somebody on Route 3.
How do you honestly feel, Sturch? Gun to your head. Do you think they're going to win? Be honest.
No.
So that's how you got to go. That's how you should go. You got to roll with it.
Then I guess.
I got no love from either one of you. When I texted what we're going to do next, when I said we're going to score, we're going to get the onside kick, I texted that before we scored. And Keith, by the way, said second. I got a feeling about the second half, not the fourth quarter, but I was joking when I said we're going to score, kick the onside kick, get the ball back, get a touchdown. I was making a joke, and it almost happened, except we didn't get the 2-point conversion.
So, all right. So we'll wrap with this. We're all picking the Cowboys to win. We'll wrap with this. Keith, if the Cowboys win, no matter how they win, whether it be a field goal or they blow them out of the fucking water, does the conversation change at all for you as far as
it will if I see a different defense. When I say different defense, different formation, different something, if they do something significantly different in this game to stop the run and stop the Giants, whose offense is not that bad, I will feel different next week, but I have to see it.
Right.
I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to beat the Giants soundly. Our defense is going to look good against Pittsburgh, even though because their defense is tough. It's going to be a test for our offense, but they don't really put up a lot of numbers. We're going to look good there. We're going to win that. Then we're going to go to Detroit. It's going to go close. We're going to make some stupid plays. Then we're going to get blown out. We're going to lose to Detroit, and then we're going to get blown out by San Francisco.
Well, Detroit's at home, bro. Detroit's at home.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, when Detroit comes to us, it doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. So
that's my call
in this game.
And I'll stick to it.
I don't know where you got the Pittsburgh thing from, bro.
Well, I think he's just looking ahead. Like he's looking past.
I don't know. I'm saying though, to say that our defense is going to shut down their offense.
No, I said we're going to have
again. I got it. Unfortunately, I have to.
They're not putting 48 up on us.
I don't know if seeing it against the Giants is going to change my tune off the bat. I mean, they could beat them 40-0 again, and I could be like, that's cute, that's awesome. Can you do it again next week? I don't know.
I want you guys to hold me to it. I think we're gonna dominate the Giants on both sides of the ball this game.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Dak Prescott said, "Jump off, please, jump off." Like,
who was he talking to though? Was he? Are we sure? I guess the fans.
No, I guess the people that were waiting for him.
Somebody yelled something at him when he was walking through.
Because I was like, are you sure he wasn't talking to like the guy on the golf cart or something?
The trainer.
Or somebody else that was just like, like, how do we know he was referring to fans?
No, what he was there was a Cowboy fan that was about to kill himself, and Dak was like, "Jump off! It's less painful.
Jump off if you want, man. Jump off."
I will say, all right. So with that being said, we'll wrap it up here. The last piece of this is one question to Keith. Keith, did the bar appreciate you bringing the couch to the bar?
Oh, yes. So I got kicked out of the house because the game wasn't on, right? I didn't want to go to a bar to spend the money because I'm like, I drop a lot of money when I go there. So I'm like, you know what? I got the NFL. I'm listening to Brad Sham. I'm listening to the radio broadcast, and I got Red Zone on. And I already flip out because we're sucking. And my wife's like, I'm just not in the mood for this today. She goes, can you go to a bar, please?
God bless.
And she said it like that. She said it nicely, and I said fine. And I went and spent $100 on something, watching my team get their
White Claws. He spent $275 on 8 White Claws.
Them green apple White Claws, dog. I'm telling you,
they hit fierce. They hit fierce.
Truly.
All right, listen.
Hey, wait, did you know this? This is crazy. That any drink in Russia under 10% alcohol is considered a soft drink.
That's awesome.
You look it up. I saw that fact, and it's dead.
That's incredible.
True. That means like little kids are like got like Caprice and White Claws and shit, dude.
Just hammered at third grade recess. Just fucking woof.
That's why they're always starting fights and shit, bro.
And before Keith goes, my mom made me. I have to apologize to Keith for cursing at him.
He told you were the wrong one. So he said that I was yelling at him when he's actually yelling at me.
We pulled the tape. And we put it out there.
You were yelling,
but not at you. I yell at the situation.
My dad
call you a fucking maniac.
My dad's like, do they even like each other? Like,
oh come on, your dad's Italian. He knows how we communicate. Italian. Let me do it not for the people in Italy. Italian American. You know how we communicate.
Yes, we do. All right. Well, listen, Cowboys got to get right. They got to get right fast. Otherwise, we are going to all jump off next week. The Cowboys hopefully get it done against the Giants. We'll talk about it next week. For Dave Sturchio, Bret Ernst, Keith Ernst, this has been another episode of a venting session and therapy of Jersey Boyz Podcast. And we will see you guys next time. Let's go Cowboys. Get it done.
Both of you guys go fuck yourself.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Whatever.
How about them Cowboys?